about sight. Nobody can see each other. If you get 40 feet away, you can't see the car can't see you. That's your problem. The other problem you have is you're not giving the right of way to cars during peak hours. Two things. Right here, you got to pull these sight lines back so people can see each other. So when a car's here, it sees a pedestrian and a bike here. You could put a pedestrian light stop here that manages the pedestrian traffic during the peak hours. So now everyone's aware of each other, and then they're slowing people down right here. And then all of a sudden, this loosens up. I don't have cars backing out. That's a big problem on Ladon, is all your cars backing out.
Yeah.
When I don't, and now if you have cars pulling forward, increased sight line, better flow here,
well, you know,
that might be better.
Like already, you get people that park on the street every now and then.
Yeah.
You start bringing in.
Why won't you use Ann Street though?
Huh?
Why won't you use Ann Street?
I don't know if it works yet. And that's an engineering exercise, and it's not mine. I have to get the city to dedicate
would make it
it.
more palatable for us.
Yeah, but I can't promise something that takes 3 months to figure out. And so I don't know if it's feasible as far as dollar-wise. I don't know if it's feasible as far as being designed and approved. So
my understanding was Ann Street had been abandoned.
No, I called Department of Transportation.
That's what I was told years ago.
I called Department of Transportation on Wednesday, and so I talked to Juan. He runs sanitation and the City of Atlanta Department of Transportation, and that's still Ann Street. He goes, there's two ways you can do it. He goes, the one way is, well, if I wanted to connect the trail and I wanted to do that stuff, one way is you get it abandoned. That's a long process. The other way is I could put a trail to the design standards that they would be lenient on. As far as putting a road, I don't know if I have the room there with the adjacencies that are already on there. It's being encroached by the other property owners already. That could be a very challenging thing. And so I just can't promise something that I don't know if I can do yet. The other part, I don't know if that makes anything any better. You're popping all the traffic into that bottleneck that S is down. Because of the way
that can be straightened out, but you're keeping it off the Ladon.
No, it can't, because your sewer, the angle that it goes, you would literally have to rerun your sewer up gravity and put an entire wall to catch the Rosling paint to try to get a direct 90-degree connection to the road. Too expensive, it can't be done. That's a big DOT project. I looked at it and studied it myself.
Yeah.
I've looked at all these.
I mean, when I moved here, Ann Street was open.
Yeah.
And
was it just like a gravel? It had like a gravel road?
It was part gravel and part street.
Oh, it was paved?
Well, wasn't it paved?
Well, there was a house over here.
Yeah, they had the house there that had it looked like a ship, had little portholes and stuff like that on it.
Okay.
So I used to walk up and down the street.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if it was asphalt or not. But I had the feeling like it was half and half. Is what I had.
It could be.
What I had in my senses, it was paved a little bit, and then. But if it's not paved now, then maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's just in my imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I had in my mind, that it was half road and got down to close to the house, and then
it might be feasible.
You used to be able to walk up from the path up Ann, but it's overgrown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool to reconnect it so you could cut through.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a Clayburne Place decision.
Yeah, they've actually objected to that path connection because they were having problems with people breaking in cars. And all.
Yeah, that's what a couple of the HOA guys said. At first, there was a lot of just people walking up and down, and that was causing a few issues. But if it was lit and paved and used and it was activated, that'd be a different story. This here has that same problem at night.
They got rid of a lot of this apartments used to be really trashy.
Really?
And
Yeah.
this was supposed to be condo.
Yeah.
And they went bankrupt.
Is that why the towns are kind of built like little towns over here?
Yeah, well, you had the first 4 buildings were built, and then they went bankrupt. And so then they turned around and it sat there, and then it was kind of like, wait a minute, and they decided to go apartments. And,
Section 8.
Everything.
Yeah, I went and door knocked a little bit in there just to see the kind of people that are in there.
But the apartments were really bad, and the drugs and stuff like that.
But it's not as much of a problem anymore?
No.
Somebody else bought it.
Yeah, the guy bought it, how long, 10 years ago?
He was in the room.
The guy that bought that? Okay.
So they flipped it. But it was during the Olympics, they had to get everybody out of downtown, so they finished this, turned it into Section 8 housing, and moved everybody from downtown.
Yeah, it was funny. It was funny that the apartment complex was empty. And then all of a sudden, one day it was full, and there were no cars. Nobody had cars.
Yeah.
But the apartment complex was full. And I was like, well, where's everybody going? Because bus over here is really bad.
Yeah.
And it was all kind of really strange how everybody moved in the middle of the night. You never saw a moving truck move in. Everybody moved in the middle of the night.
I don't remember
Actually,
that.
it was really,
Olympic.
Yeah.
it was really kind of
Oh.
sketchy.
It's part of the village.
Yes. I know.
So that's one thing. These mosquitoes. Every
Why
time
don't
it
we walk
floods,
down
they
there?
breed.
This is the worst year
Yeah,
because
I know.
it's been raining for 2 months.
Yeah.
We've never had this kind of problem like this early in the year.
Yeah. Dude, these. I talked to some of these guys over here. They say they spray, and then when they have a rainfall, it's like a week and a half later. That's it. So, I mean, that's just some of the things that I want to talk about, the character stuff. You know, some of the character of the community, again, if you look at what the median density residential is, it's just not proposing, it's adjacency to higher density residential, check. Adjacency to a walkable trail, check. Connectivity to commercial, retail, daily convenience, lifestyle, check. And I'm bookend on both ends of townhomes. I have townhomes there. Those were R4 converted to MRC3. Those were R4 converted to MR3. Same thing I'm doing. So, I mean, it fits the character of the neighborhood to the book.
39 homes where there used to be 3.
And those were on the edges on commercial
Oh,
areas.
now character changes.
Well, there's developments that changed this area over the last decade.
Commercial down on that end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was negotiated with the neighborhood over nearly a year.
Yeah, I'm just reading you guys the definition of what medium density residential is and where they want density in the city. Wants density on the trail. They want density where it's already connected to higher density, where you have that walkability. This isn't a place for 5 homes. This is a place where people can park their car and walk to Publix and walk to the pharmacy or walk to Aquatots, or that's what it needs to be. I don't need to sell $900,000 homes. That's not this market.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be this market.
Yeah, we should have done more. There wasn't much in the neighborhood, but when they built those condos and they were going to do that, there were 3 houses there.
Not this one right here.
The apartment complex.
Oh yeah.
There were 3 houses there.
And the other thing, real quick, guys, there's 3 developers behind me on this.
Okay.
They're corporate. They're big names in the city, and I mean, it might be them just doing whatever they want. And I'm trying so hard for you guys to do something. I keep
The other proposal.
it's townhomes.
Yeah.
I keep hearing, you know, that you guys have been here for this long, and I'm a greedy developer coming to the city. Guys, I've been here my entire life. I'm born here, born in the city. I built homes in the city. I was educated in the city. My family built homes in the city. I'm very, very Atlanta, Georgia.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Gwinnett, but I was born in Grady. Then we moved out, and so I was in Gwinnett County. Then graduated at Mill Creek, and then went to Georgia Tech, and then just never left the city after that. So, yeah, I've been here for a long time. I care about my brand. I care about my reputation. Empire is owned by the Canadian Forestry Group. I helped them buy Empire. Let's see, Dan Ryan, they're owned by the Japanese. Stanley Martin is owned by the Japanese. All the Pulte, all these other companies, they're owned by a corporation in the boardroom. They don't really have a say. Division president doesn't even have as much say. I can do everything I'm saying. I don't have to ask anyone above me. You should want me to be the one to develop this. If it's not me, it will be somebody else. It always is. And the only in townhomes, and I've talked to council members. I've talked to all the most council members. I know a lot of them, and they agree with my definition of what this land is for medium density. 100%. They need homes. You know, inventory. Let's talk about inventory.
We got inventory. You drive 5 minutes in any direction, you'll pass new homes,
And
3 to 5
Other
times.
inventories already built, are being built and approved.
Yeah.
It's opening up.
Let's talk about economics real quick. So in 2007, there's 4 million homes for sale. There's 1.2 million for. We're at 2019 inventory levels.
Clayburne can't sell the 4 units they've got available.
Clayburne, so inventory for new homes is extremely low. Demand, everyone's saying demand's gone. Purchase
That's
applications.
not the information I've been reading. Is
So
that people
you
have
can,
went by.
I will send you the altos. I used to
Stuff
do this.
is on the market now for 6 months or more without moving.
Inventories at 2019 levels. Purchase applications are 20% higher than last year. Demand's up, supply's up, but it's only 35% of what it used to be. Supply is low historically, and demand is up from last year. And those are facts proven with data, not just driving by stuff and looking at stuff and your heartstrung feelings. I look at this data every single day. I know this like the back of my hand. And the misinformation stuff, it gets people thinking because they don't know. And I have to you're making me have to re-educate people on this stuff, and it's very hard for me because this is my livelihood, it's my entire business, it's my life. Misinformation, it's one thing if you just don't want townhomes. I get that, and I get if you've been here for a long time, seen the streets for a long time, you don't want townhomes. I can't, I get it. Then you're in opposition. But if you're spreading misinformation, especially when I've addressed this several times, I have a big problem with that because that really hurts me, my business, and if it's on purpose, just to win votes.
Going with whatever information I've got. And
I know, but it's incorrect, and I've addressed this a lot. I addressed it in the rooms, and it keeps getting spread. I knocked on people's door, and they were told by the group that don't listen to him. He's saying he can only do townhomes, but he can do whatever he wants. He could do apartments if he wanted with the zoning. No, I can't. I said the only use is be stuff in townhomes. I can't go over 38 feet tall. That can't be redone unless you go back to a ZRB in a public hearing.
That I don't know.
Well, then you got to be careful saying it. If you don't know it, don't say it.
I haven't heard that.
But if you don't know it, don't say it.
I haven't
That's
said
all I'm
it.
saying.
I haven't heard it.
Because it's defamation at some
That's
point.
not coming from mine.
Okay, I'm done. I'm going in.
Okay, but you guys, you see where I'm coming from? I'm not a bad guy. I'm not malicious. I'm not a greedy guy out here trying to do something nefarious. You guys are kind of painting me like a bad, greedy guy. And I'm not. That's not. You're saying things that you don't even know who I am. You won't even talk to me sometimes. Won't even look at me half the time in the room.
Never.
Hey, Knox. I'll be there in just a minute. I'm on the trail with a few of the opposition. Just talking through a couple things. Yep. Give me 5 to 10. All right. Sorry.
Well, we've learned some information yesterday, not about you, about Clayburne Place.
Yeah, that's
and their motivations for doing this and not sharing it with the neighborhood and not being transparent.
Because of brand new light on a lot of things.
What
that they were conned in by somebody on their board to buy these 2 lots in 2018, and now they can't afford to keep their place together, and so they've basically assembled this project. They approached all of you developers.
Previous con man president used the fund that they should have for maintenance and paid for the lots with it.
And now they need the money to fix up their place, and that's basically what started this whole.
So people have motivations to sell things, but what does that have anything to do with getting an approval for zoning or the things that we're talking about?
Their problem shouldn't become our problem of being forced to deal with townhomes across the street that we don't want.
Okay, but I get it. That says you don't want it, but their motivation to sell has no effect on if they should be approved or not.
It really sets a tone with the neighborhood, and we're the ones who get to vote on whether or not you get approved.
I know.
But
So
they
yes, it
took
does.
their little corner over here and made a decision for the neighborhood without discussing it with the neighborhood.
Why is it a decision for the neighborhood?
Because it affects all of us. It doesn't just affect them,
This changes our character.
Who
this
had
changes
this land before?
the homeowner. And then the Dunseith Townhome LLC that built, that flipped the apartments that became,
I think somebody buying land and then reselling it, whether it's a hardship or not, that's not devious. They didn't do anything nefarious. So what are you guys talking about?
no, they
You need to do
hid,
some research.
they hid.
I just heard what you said.
No, they did not disclose the true intention behind. They're the ones who initiated this project when they approached you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that they did not share any of that with the neighborhood. The first we learned of it was when this splash came out that this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say, we're having trouble, this is what we need to do, this is what we're thinking about doing. They had gone through the entire process without talking to anybody who lives in the area.
Yeah, but,
so-
but I put it under contract, and then I put everything out there. I don't think it's their responsibility. I think it's my responsibility as the applicant. That's not their
You're
responsibility.
missing my point. They're not. They didn't share with the neighborhood their true intentions. In fact, I think they tried to keep it a secret as to the motivation behind starting all of this. Because we're just oblivious, and suddenly the neighbors up here vanish, and we're concerned, and we get the police to do a wellness check because we don't know the people that have been there and have been meticulous about their yard, and the lights have been on 24/7 and packages are piling up on their porch, and we don't know why. And then we check Zillow and see $1 million price tag on their house. It just doesn't add up because nobody in the neighborhood has been informed.
You're talking about for 1905?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's where I'm moving in.
I understand that, but what I'm saying
They got a
is,
divorce. Why do they got to tell everybody?
what I'm saying is it was out of character.
That's the way this neighborhood that you're moving into operates. They're concerned about our real neighbors, and they were real neighbors.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're not there. We're doing wellness checks. We're knocking on their door.
Okay. Well,
Because why would they have packages piling up on the porch, and why would the lights be on 24/7 for over a month? That led us to be concerned about, has something happened to them?
okay. Well, that's nice that you're concerned, but I still don't think anyone did anything bad here. Nobody did anything nefarious. They don't have to consult the neighbor to sell their property. It's up to the person, the developer,
yeah,
and the applicant.
It's because of my family.
Okay, I walked this with Pete Pellegrini 2 weeks ago, and
Pellegrini wasn't part of that organization at that time.
he started in '91.
Okay. I
He
wasn't
started
here.
it
It
at
was my
'91
cousin who
for the
started it,
Olympics.
but-
I walked and heard the whole story with him.
Okay.
So, yeah, and so he thinks this trail is not being maintained. He believes this swamp is a disaster. He thinks that concrete should be good, or fixed. He was disgraced by all the wires laying here, and he thinks the trail to the West Side Village
And
is
who
an
do you think
awesome,
removed the wires?
awesome idea.
But whose responsibility is it to maintain the path?
Doing the maintenance, someone needs
And
to
they're
hold
the
them
ones-
responsible.
And they're the ones
supposed to be
tearing
in
it. They're the ones that are causing the concrete to break up.
I thought it was a tree that fell across.
No, the concrete is breaking up because of all the trucks that go up and down. The pad people.
They're supposed to have. It's supposed to be concrete. It's supposed to support that kind of truck. That's the bullshit part.
But
Well,
that's the
this was
path
built-
organization put this in.
Yeah. Well, they should come back and fix it.
That's what I'm saying. Whose responsibility is it to maintain it?
It's path, but it's our neighborhood to get them to do it, to say something. They're not going to just come do it. Who said anything to Pat?
Circles.
This is not circles. I think this is a productive conversation, but yeah, I mean, it's Pat's responsibility. But someone's got to say something. Who's ever talked to Pat? Who have you talked to Pat lately?
Messages have been sent out. 311 has been reported. Those cables came down because he took it down.
Well, great. But I'm just saying, this is underutilized. It's overgrown. It's not lit. It's not safe. We're getting carried away by mosquitoes. You got a drainage problem.
You're planning on
I'm doing a
removing
great
a lot
thing.
of these trees that provide shelter and shade.
There's a lot. I just had a DDH report. You want to see that?
Okay? You're still not going to finish. There's going to be people who can no longer use the trail because the temperatures can rise. They can't walk their pets.
I'm going to replant
There's
this
a
trail.
couple.
Look at those trees right there in front of this down there. See how big they are?
From what I understand, you're planning on
years.
producing smaller trees that are going to take
They grow 3
a
feet a
dozen
year.
years to get to where this level is. How long is it going to take?
A lot of these trees live to be about 60 years old. A lot of them are about 45 to 50. If I start cutting those roots, you have stuff like right down there. A lot of those trees have narrow root systems. They're very shallow. They're dangerous. I'm a little nervous moving in that house right there. There's 2 trees I'm very nervous about. That's not safe.
It's maintenance. Just
It's
as
not
Clayburne kids do their
a
maintenance so it doesn't
50-year
fall on the
tree
trees
that's leaning
in
like
their cars.
this, and I barely cut into the. That's not maintenance. That tree is near the end of its life. There's
Get
about
a
6
hazard permit, remove
marquee
it.
trees that I'm going to try to work around and meander around. They're healthy, that make sense. I'll work around those, but I'll have an aggressive replanting plan to go back and fix the rest.
Still in the answer. How long is it going to take to get the path so it's shaded like this? A decade. at least.
Well, 3 feet a year, 15 feet trees, 5 years, 6 years. Won't be like this because these trees are, some of these trees are
And
30, 40 feet
first
tall.
2 of that's going to be under construction, so that's not going to happen immediately.
Yeah, well, we can't preserve every single tree for a house and not provide housing. If I have to keep going further and further out and put houses further and further away from existing infrastructure, existing conveniences, that's not what people need. They need to be closer in.
There are other parcels available.
I know, but so. It's nice.
We don't need to chop up our neighborhood.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Nice chatting.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Hey, thank you for listening. I appreciate it.
all right.
Have a good one.
Talk to you later.
Yeah. No welfare checks needed anymore. I'm moving in a couple.